I'd spent years holding my family together, or so I thought. I'm Nate, 31, a mechanic with a steady shop in Lincoln, Nebraska. For a decade, I'd propped up my parents, Bill and Carol, in their creaky Omaha house, paying their mortgage when Bill's pension ran thin, fixing their roof, stocking their fridge. My brother, Kyle, 27, was a different story, jobless, glued to his Xbox, coasting on charm and excuses. I didn't mind the load. Family's family, right? Until I found the will. It was a fluke. Mom asked me to grab tax papers from their desk last spring. Rifling through, a legal envelope slipped out, stamped, last will and testament. Curiosity bit. I opened it. Everything. The house, their savings, Dad's old Chevy, all to Kyle. Me? A line. To Nathan, our gratitude for his support. Gratitude? No inheritance, no share, just words. I'd bankrolled them, sweated for them, while Kyle mooched, and they'd picked him. I stormed downstairs, the paper shaking in my hand. Bill sat in his recliner. Carol at the kitchen table, coffee steaming. What's this? I demanded, slapping it down. You're leaving it all to Kyle? After everything I've done. Bill blinked, gruff. He needs it, Nate. You're fine, shop's good, you've got your life. Needs it. I snapped. He hasn't worked a day, lives off me through you. I've paid your bills, mortgage, groceries, 10 years. Carol fidgeted, eyes darting. You're strong, honey. He's fragile. We can't let him struggle. Fragile. I laughed, bitter. He's lazy, plays games while I fix your leaks. You used me. That's not fair. Bill growled, standing. We're grateful. You're just too independent. Independent because I had to be, I shot back. You don't get it. I'm done. I grabbed my keys, the will crumpled in my fist, and left, their protests fading behind me. Back in Lincoln, my shop's hum couldn't drown the sting. I'd been their ATM, not their son, supporting a house I'd never own, a future I wasn't in. Kyle'd get it all, grinning like he'd earned it. I sat in my apartment, staring at my bank app. Auto pays to their accounts still active. My finger hovered, then hit cancel. No more. They'd feel it soon. Omaha's bills would pile, and I wouldn't lift a wrench. Canceling the auto pays to my parents' accounts felt like snapping a rusted bolt. Jarring, but final. Back in my Lincoln apartment, the silence was thick, broken only by the hum of my fridge. For years, I'd funneled cash to Bill and Carol in Omaha. Mortgage payments, electric bills, even Kyle's damn internet for his endless gaming. I'd been their lifeline, a mechanic greasing their wheels, and they'd handed it all to him. No more. The first sign came fast. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a text from Carol. Nate, power's out. Did you pay the bill? I stared at it, thumb hovering. She assumed I'd jump, like always. I typed back. Not my problem. Check with Kyle. No reply for hours. Then Bill called, voice rough. What's this, Nate? You cut us off. Yeah, I said, leaning on my workbench at the shop. Found your will, everything to Kyle. I'm done funding a future I'm not in. That's childish, he barked. He needs help. You're fine. Fine because I worked for it. I shot back. Kyle's 27. Let him step up. I hung up, heart pounding but steady. They'd banked on my guilt. I wasn't bending. Next day, a Venmo request pinged. $500 from Carol, memo. Groceries, please. I declined it. No note. Then Kyle texted, lazy as ever. Bro, send cash. House is dark. Parents are freaking. I laughed, bitter, and blocked him. They'd ignored my years of sweat, roof patches, late-night drives with cash, while Kyle coasted. Now they'd feel the weight. By week's end, Bill showed up at my Lincoln shop, unannounced, his old pickup rattling in the lot. Nate, he said, storming in. This is family, you don't ditch us. Family. I wiped grease off my hands, facing him. You ditched me. Gave Kyle everything after I carried you. Get out. We'll figure it, he grumbled, softer. Just send the money. No, I said, firm. Figure it yourself. He glared, then left, tires spitting gravel. I locked the shop, chest tight but lighter. They'd leaned on me too long. Omaha's lights were off, and I wasn't flipping the switch. My phone stayed quiet after, too quiet. I knew they'd push harder soon, but I was ready to pull the plug for good. Bill's shop visit didn't sway me. His plea for cash bounced off like a bad check. Back in Lincoln, I buried myself in work, my mechanic shop humming with oil changes and engine fixes. I'd cut the cord to Omaha. No more mortgage payments, no grocery runs, and the silence from my phone felt like a win. But I knew Bill, Carol, and Kyle too well. They wouldn't let go easy. It started with voicemails. Carol first, voice shaky. Nate, water's off. Please, we need $200. Kyle's upset. We're struggling. Then Bill, gruff. You're killing us, son. Send something or we're done. I deleted them, jaw tight. Kyle's text followed. Bro, house is a mess. No power, no water. Help or I'm screwed. I blocked him again, new number. Same whine. They thought I'd cave, like always. Not this time. A week later, my shop's email pinged, a $1,000 PayPal request from Carol. Note, emergency, house repairs. I declined it. No reply. Then the doorbell at my Lincoln apartment rang. Kyle, slouched in a hoodie, Bill behind him, red-faced. Nate? Bill barked. Open up. We're family. No. I said through the door, phone ready to dial 911. You're trespassing, leave. Give me a break, Kyle groaned. We're broke. Your fault. My fault. I snapped. I paid your way for years. Will's all yours. Earn it. Bill pounded the door. You owe us. Decade of help. I don't owe you squat. I shot back. Cops are next, go. They cursed, shuffled off. Bill's truck roared away. I exhaled, hands shaking but firm. They'd gambled I'd buckle. I'd rewired that circuit. Next day, a cousin, Jen, called from Omaha. Nate, they're losing it. House is dark, fridge empty. They're begging everyone, say you're cruel. Cruel. I laughed, bitter, under a car at the shop. I bankrolled them. Kyle gets it all. Tell him that. Sheesh, she said. They're nuts. I believe you. Thanks, I replied, hanging up. Their desperation was showing, demands piling up. No leverage left. I checked my accounts, locked tight. No joint ties. Lincoln was my ground. Omaha their sinkhole. They'd push harder. I knew, probably dirtier. I saved their messages, sensing a storm. My wrench turned, steady, whatever they threw, I ground it out. Bill and Kyle's doorstep stunt didn't break me, but it lit a fuse. Back in Lincoln, my shop stayed busy, tune-ups, tire swaps, the grind keeping me sane. I'd ignored their calls, blocked their numbers, let Omaha's bills stack like unpaid tickets. Jen's warning, they're begging everyone, echoed, but I figured they'd tire out. I was wrong. They went low, and they went public. It hit on a Tuesday. My phone buzzed with a text from a shop regular. Pete, dude, your fam's trashing you on Facebook. Check it. I pulled it up, got sinking. Carol's post, pinned on her wall. Our son Nate abandoned us, cut off our power, water, left us starving. Ungrateful after all we gave him. Bill chimed in below. Raised him right. Now he's selfish, won't help his own blood. Kyle's was worse. Nate's a jerk. Lives good while we suffer. Dead to me. Comments piled. What a creep. Shame on him from cousins, old neighbors, strangers too. I stared, wrench slipping in my hand. 10 years, mortgage checks, late-night repairs, erased by lies. They'd flipped it, made me the villain while Kyle's lazy ass got the crown. My phone lit up. Jen, they're nuts. Don't let it slide. I didn't plan to. I screenshotted it all, then typed my own post, public, no filter, truth. I paid mom and dad's bills for a decade, house, food, fixes, while Kyle did zilch. Found their will, everything to him, nothing for me. Cut them off. Now they smear me. I'm done being their ATM. I attached a photo of the will, Kyle's name bold, mine a footnote. Hit send. The backlash flipped fast. Jen shared it. Nate's legit. They're greedy. Pete commented. Screw that, Kyle's a leech. Old friends chimed in. You're better off, man. Carol fired back. Lies. He's heartless. Bill. Disrespectful punk. Kyle. He's jealous. Always was. But the tide turned. Folks saw through it, their desperation stinking louder than their words. That night, my shop's line rang. Bill, voice slurring. Take it down. Nate, you're ruining us. You started this, I said, cold. Live with it. I hung up, blocked the number. Lincoln's hum steadied me, my life, my rules. Omaha's venom couldn't touch me here. They'd swung. I grounded the hit. My Facebook post hit like a spark in dry grass. Lincoln rallied. Omaha squirmed. Carol's smear campaign had backfired. Friends, clients, even distant aunts shared my side, the will's photo a smoking gun. Decade of support, screwed over. Pete wrote. Jen messaged, they're toast, nobody's buying their crap. I grinned at my shop, oil-stained hands steady on a carburetor. Bill, Carol, and Kyle had swung. I turned their punch into a spotlight. They didn't quit, though. Carol posted again. Mate's lying, twisting our love for Kyle into greed. He's cruel. Bill tagged me. Own up. Boy, you abandoned us. Kyle's was a rant. He's a fake, shop's all he cares about, not family. Comments split. Some relatives bought their sob story, per parents, but most saw through. Lazy brother gets all? BS. I screenshotted every word, evidence stacking. Wednesday, my shop phone rang. Carol, voice shrill. Nate, take it down. People are calling us. Kyle's a wreck. You trashed me first, I said, calm, under a truck. Will's real. Deal with it. We're broke, she pleaded. No heat. Help us. Ask Kyle, I replied. He's your heir. I hung up. Her wail cut off. An hour later, a Venmo request, $800 from Bill, utilities, urgent. Declined. No note. They were flailing. Omaha's bills mounting, no lifeline left. Jen called that night, tense. They're at it. Showed up at my place, begging cash. Said you've poisoned everyone. I told him off. Kyle just smirked. Smirked? I laughed, bitter, in my Lincoln apartment. He's got nothing, still thinks he's king. Yeah, she said. House is dark. They're desperate. Watch out, they're mad. Let him be. I replied, firm. I'm done. I hung up, checking my locks. Bill's truck at my door still fresh. My shop's Yelp spiked. 5 stars. Nate's a stand-up guy. Family's nuts. Clients dropped supportive nods. Business held. Thursday, Kyle emailed, pathetic. Bro, we're screwed. No power, no food. Send $500. I'll pay back. I deleted it, no reply. They'd built this hole. Years of me carrying them. Kyle coasting, now exposed. Lincoln was my grid. Shop thriving, friends solid. Omaha's mess was theirs. I'd cut the roots, and they were wilting fast. Lincoln's steady hum. My shop's clank, my apartment's quiet. Kept me grounded as Omaha's chaos boiled over. Carol's calls, Bill's demands, Kyle's whining. They'd gone from pleas to tantrums, their online smear fizzling against my truth. The Will screenshot had flipped the script. Folks saw me as the workhorse, them the freeloaders. But they weren't done. Desperation breeds dirt, and they shoveled it hard. It hit Friday morning. My shop's Facebook page got a review. 1 star, Carol's name. Nate's a liar. Cheated us out of money, left us homeless. Boycott this crook. Bill posted on a local Omaha group. My son's a thief, stole years of support. Now we're broke. Kyle's Instagram story, him in their dark house, captioned, thanks Nate. Family stars while you flex. Lies, bold and sloppy, but loud. My phone buzzed with confused clients. I called Jen, fuming, oil rag in hand. They're at it again, saying I stole from them. Ridiculous, she snapped. They're unhinged. House is a pit. No utilities. I saw Kyle at a gas station, mooching cigs, whining about you. Homeless. I laughed sharp. They've got a roof, Will's theirs. I paid it. Post that, she urged. Shut him down. I did. Shop page, public. Carol claims I cheated them. I paid their mortgage 10 years, bills too. Well, leaves it all to Kyle. Here's proof. They're not homeless. They're mad I stopped funding Kyle's laziness. Attach the will again, plus old bank statements. Thousands to their accounts. Comments rolled. Nate's legit. Shame on them. Boycott? I'm booking him. Clients called. Supportive. The smear backfired. Saturday, Bill left a voicemail. Slurred, furious. You're dead to us. Posting lies. We'll sue. I saved it, grinning. Sue with what? Kyle texted. Shop's done. Everyone'll know you're trash. Blocked. Then Carol showed up at my Lincoln apartment, banging the door at dusk. Nate, we're starving. Give us something. Leave. I yelled, phone filming through the peephole. Cops next. She cursed, stumbled off. Caught on video. More proof. Jen texted. They're begging cousins now. Nobody's biting. House is foreclosure bait. I exhaled, wrench turning. Omaha's desperation was their trap. I'd cut the line, and they were sinking. Lincoln held me up, shop solid, truth louder. They'd dug this root. I'd let it rot. Carol's doorstep rant. Caught on my phone's grainy video. Marked a shift. Lincoln stayed my fortress, the shop buzzing with loyal clients who'd seen through the Omaha lies. My post with bank statements, proof of a decade's support, had flipped the narrative. Bill, Carol, and Kyle's online venom was losing juice. But they weren't out. Desperate people cling harder, and their grip was slipping fast. Jen called Monday, voice tense. Banks on M. Foreclosure notice hit their mailbox. No mortgage payments since you cut off, Nate. They're freaking. Kyle's yelling at Bill. Carol's crying to neighbors. Serves em right, I said, torquing a bolt at the shop. House is Kyle's inheritance. Let him save it. He won't, she snorted. Saw him at a bar, drunk, mooching drinks, whining about you. They're broke. No utilities, selling junk. I grinned, picturing it. Their Omaha castle crumbling. Kyle too lazy to lift a finger. My phone pinged. Carol's email. Nate, house is gone without $2,000. Please, we're family. I deleted it, no reply. Then Bill texted. You did this. Fix it, or we're homeless. Blocked. They'd built this cliff. Pushed me off, now tumbling themselves. Tuesday, my shop's Yelp spiked. More 5 stars. Nate's a hero. Family's nuts. A client dropped off coffee, grinning. Heard your folks are tanking. Good riddance. I nodded, grateful. Lincoln had my back. But Carol tried again. A voicemail, sobbing. Bank's taking it. Kyle's a mess. Help us, Nate. You owe us. Oh, I muttered, saving it. I owed nothing. Years of checks, late-night fixes, all for Kyle's crown. I posted the voicemail audio, public, captioned. Owe them? After this will, and a decade of my money? Nope. Shares exploded. They're shameless. Nate's free. Jen texted. Neighbors say they're packing. Bill's raging. Carol's begging. Kyle's useless. Pawn Dad's tools. I leaned on my truck. Lincoln's dusk settling. Foreclosure loomed. They'd lose the house I'd paid for. Kyle's prize slipping. No guilt hit. I'd been their root, ripped out when they chose him. That night, a cousin, Mark, called, neutral tone. They're done. Nate, asking me for cash. I said no. Your post convinced me. You good. Better than ever, I said, firm. Shop's up. Life's mine. He chuckled, hanging up. Omaha's betrayal was their noose. I'd cut loose, and the roots were snapping. The foreclosure notice wasn't a threat anymore. It was a hammer, and it dropped hard. Jen called midweek, voice a mix of shock and glee. Bank took it. Nate, Omaha house is gone. Bill and Carol moved to a cheap rental. Kyle's crashing there, whining. They're selling what's left, furniture, pots, junk. You won. Won, I said, tightening a spark plug at my Lincoln shop. Just stop losing. They did this. Yeah, she agreed. Saw Carol at a thrift store, haggard, begging for discounts. Kyle's pawning games now. Bill's a ghost. I nodded, picturing it. The house I'd bankrolled for a decade, Kyle's inheritance, snatched by reality. My phone stayed quiet. No more pleas, no demands. Their online smear had fizzled. My posts, the will, Carol's voicemail had buried their lies. Lincoln buzzed around me, shop packed, clients loyal, my name clean. Thursday, Mark texted. They're done. Rental's a dump. No heat. Asked me to call you, said no. Your side's clear. I replied, good, thanks. Cousins were picking sides, most with me, some silent, none with them. My apartment felt lighter, new couch, no echoes of Omaha's guilt trips. Friday, a client, old high school bud, Tom, dropped off his truck, grinning. Heard your folks crashed. Sorry, man, but damn, you're a rock. Shop's killing it. Had to be, I said, checking his oil. They chose Kyle. I chose me. Smart, he nodded. Family's overrated when it's toxic. That night, I grabbed beers with Pete, shop regular, solid guy. Your ex-parents are a meme now, he laughed, sliding me a bottle. Omaha's laughing, lazy Kyle's legacy. You're free, man. Feels it, I said, clinking his. Business up 20%, no baggage. He raised an eyebrow. Dating yet? Nah, I shrugged. Shop's enough, maybe soon. Saturday, Jen sent a pic. Bill's Chevy, rusted, on a tow lot. Repoed, Kyle's fault, missed payments. I smirked, his prize, gone. Carol's last email, weeks back. We're sorry. Nate, help? Sat deleted. They'd smeared me, demanded cash, lost it all. I'd cut the root. They'd withered. My shop's neon sign glowed as I locked up Lincoln's pulse, my life. Omaha was their graveyard, rental hell, no assets, no me. I'd built this, and it held. The betrayal stung once, now it fueled me. Lincoln was my rhythm now, shop humming, apartment cozy, no trace of Omaha's weight. A year after finding that will, I'd turned betrayal into fuel, Hill City Auto, rebranded, sharper, packed with jobs, my crew tight, my name gold among clients. Bill, Carol, and Kyle were ghosts, their house lost, their lies exposed, their grip on me severed. I'd cut the roots. They'd rotted in the dirt. Jen updated me over coffee one Sunday, her grin wicked. They're done. Nate, Reynolds a slum. No power again. Carol's begging at food banks. Bill's hauling scrap. Barely scraping by. Kyle's a joke. Pawned his Xbox. Crashes on their couch. Fitting, I said, stirring sugar. House was his. Lost it doing nothing. Yeah, she nodded. Saw him at a dive, drunk. Moaning about you. Nobody cares. Your post killed their cred. I smirked, sipping. My online truth, the will, bank records, had outlasted their smear. Carol's last call months back. We're sorry, sat ignored. They demanded, smeared, crumbled. I'd stood firm. Lincoln held me up. Monday, Pete swung by the shop, truck rattling. Your fam's a caution tale, Omaha's done with him. You're the man, shop's a beast. Had to be, I said, checking his brakes. They picked Kyle. I picked me. Best move, he grinned. New chick yet? Working on it, I replied, thinking of Sarah, barista at my regular spot, sharp, funny. We'd chatted lately, coffee runs turning flirty. No rush, but a spark. Tuesday, Mark texted. Bill called, sick, broke, asking for you. Told him no. Your side's right? Stay good. I nodded to myself, cousins cutting ties too. Their rental hell, no heat, no cash, was their bed. I'd slept fine, my cabin warm, shop thriving. That night, Sarah joined me for beer's first real date. Heard your family's a mess, she said. I's curious. You're solid, though, shop's badass. Had to rebuild, I said, meeting her gaze. They used me, cut, am loose. Respect, she smiled, clinking my bottle. You're better off. I was. Hill City's neon glowed as I locked up, Lincoln's heartbeat, my pulse. Omaha's echoes, Bill's truck repoed, Carol's pleas, Kyle's laziness, faded. They'd sown betrayal. I'd harvested freedom. Sarah's laugh lingered, a new wire threading in. 2 years after that will ripped my world open. Lincoln was my bedrock. Hill City Auto, a local legend. My apartment a haven. Sarah, a steady hum in my life. We'd been dating 6 months. Coffee runs turned dinners. Her wit and warmth grounding me. Omaha's betrayal, Bill, Carol, and Kyle, was a faint scar, faded by my own current. I'd pulled the roots. They'd withered, and I stood taller. Jen dropped the last thread over beers one night, voice dry. They're gone. Nate, rental evicted M. Carol's with a sister in Kearney. Bill's in a flop house. Kyle's vanished, maybe a shelter. House sold at auction, pennies. Done, I said, clinking her glass. Built it for them. Kyle's prize lost. Yeah, she grinned. Heard Carol's still whining. Nate ruined us. Nobody buys it. Your post stuck. I nodded, sipping. The will, my bank stubs, Carol's desperate voicemail. I'd wired the truth tight, and it held. Lincoln embraced me, shop packed, Sarah's hand in mine. Omaha's smear was their noose. They'd hanged themselves. Pete swung by the shop next day, truck purring post-tune. Your folks are a ghost story. Omaha's done with them. You're king, business up, girls cool. Had to cut loose, I said, wiping grease. They chose Kyle. I chose this. Best call, he nodded. Family's who you pick. Saturday, Sarah and I hit a trail, Blue River winding past, her laugh cutting the chill. Ever miss him? She asked, boots crunching leaves. Once, I admitted honest. Not now. Used me, smeared me. You, Jen, Pete, that's real. Good, she smiled, leaning in. You're enough. That night, Mark texted. Bill's sick. Tried guilting me for your number. Said no, he's out. You solid. I replied. Rock solid, thanks. No echo pulled me back. Omaha's wreckage was theirs. Hill City's neon glowed as I locked up. Jobs lined up. Sarah waiting at home. Jen's last call sealed it. Kyle's begging strangers. Carol's broke. Bill's fading. You're free. Nate, really free. I grinned, hanging up. They demanded, smeared, lost it all. House, cred me. I'd built Lincoln, shop, love, life, from their ashes. The roots of betrayal were dust. My grid hummed, powered by me.